Hey guys, and welcome to cast number 2 of Low Elo Cast. If you haven't had a chance to see the first one, I highly recommend you do. It's a really cool team game on a big map, 3v3, lots of experimentals, lots of back and forth. And this one is more of the opposite, actually. I say opposite, but really, if you guys queue up in matchmaking on 1v1s, a lot of what you're going to get is just these smaller 5v5 maps, and if you can see the time of the length of the video down below, you'll see that this video is a lot shorter. And that's because the casts we see on YouTube are really cool a lot of the times because we're showing a lot of the coolest stuff happening. Everyone likes big fights happening and all that good stuff. But realistically, the vast majority of the time you play, at least 1v1s, are going to be pretty quick. You'll find out that pretty early in the game, one person's usually just better at ecoing than the other person, and games usually end pretty quickly. So that's kind of why I wanted to showcase this one. You can see that it is just me again, and that's because I don't have a giant list of cool games I have to go over. So if any of you are watching this and you have some cool games you think would make for good showing, definitely shoot me an email with those replay IDs. I'll check them out. And yeah, but let us get started on this game. So as I mentioned, the first few minutes of the game are super critically important. In the last one, I mentioned that you typically want to build 3 factories with your commander, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. Building up some power generators before you build mass extractors or factories or whatever, just to make sure they have power to run. And let's go over and see what he's doing here. So I haven't even introduced the players yet, but yes, this is indeed the Eggman in blue UEF, and then you have me over on the right in red UEF, the Green Squire, and he's already getting some light assault bots out, it looks like, and his initial build order is just about finished with only this one factory, and it looks like he's going up top here to assist the Hydro. So he's doing a Hydro rush, and where is my Hydro? My Hydro's down here. It looks like I'm pretty much just ignoring it. I'm just making power with what I have. So, yeah, let's go and just real quick see what everyone can see. So it's super important. I like to do these in my casts where I switch to the players, and then as you can see here, I have these circles down here. I'm power stalling, by the way, which isn't great, but yep, I have these circles down here, which again I covered it in my last cast, but this is just the intel little circle. I like to have those on my units just so I can see how far I have my units across and how far I should move my armies up before I should build more radar. And already the Eggman is coming in here, shooting up this engineer. He goes down, and that engineer is in a precarious position. Probably will get taken out here. I have 1 light assault bot, 2 light assault bots coming in for counters, but looks like I have a radar up. I must have built that, and then it was using all my power because it is currently turned off. But I'm starting to overflow on mass a little bit as I'm trying to counter these guys, and it looks like the Eggman actually took out the engineer that was starting work on my line of factories, and that's dirty because he's starting up his own line of factories, and now I have to, re-queue it up with an engineer like I'm doing here. But I have a little bit of mass on my front lines, so I guess it's not all bad. I did get one of his engineers down here, I believe, because I think this was either built or, yeah, it looks like that's the engineer I got. But that scouting party is going to get obliterated by some tanks. And yeah, pretty even start so far. He's doing pretty well on resources. Actually, about to overflow 29 mass. Oof. Definitely wants to start building stuff out of this factory. Or if you guys ever catch yourself overflowing, just immediately start upgrading some mass extractors. And then once it goes down a little bit, you can pause the mass extractors if needed, but you never want to overflow on mass because again, that is mass that just disappears into oblivion, and if your opponent is using all of their mass, like I'm doing the exact opposite. I have no resources, but I'm not wasting any. It's all going into my economy, and if you waste some, it's just gone forever. Still overflowing on some mass, definitely wants to start upgrading some mass extractors, but his commander is starting to get his production lines up, and again, I would probably suggest 3 factories, pretty standard go-to with the commander. Just build out some stuff in the initial base, and really you want to minimize the amount of walking you do with your commander because engineers can build all this stuff, and they're going to do it slower than your commander, but your commander is about like 3 times as good as an engineer, but he's about 20 times good as a tank. So your commander is going to be like 10 times as good as a tank than he is as an engineer. So build out your base, it's important, but then you're going to want to go to the front lines like my commander is. And if you can see, there's not a thing he can do about this commander. So I hope that I go up and destroy all this stuff, because let's see if I can see anything. I cannot. Oh, I can see stuff. So my radar's on the front line. That's up and running. I have a scouting party up here, which is cool, but I also have enemy scouting party coming down that way, which isn't cool for me, at least. Again, doing this from my perspective. But yeah, he's going to get all these mass extractors. And yeah, that's going to hurt me a little bit. Holy cow, am I really on 43 mass, or is that reclaim? Plus 24. No, okay, I think I must have been reclaiming some. Yeah, there we go. We're back down to, or is that just because I'm power stalling? Man, I've been power stalling a lot this game. But hey, here we go. We move my tanks up to the front lines like so, coming in with my commander. He's finally getting the orders to move his commander up as well, and so he's going to fend that off very nicely. I have a bomber out, which that's probably where my power is going, come to think of it, because air factories are generally pretty power intensive. And now we have just a nice little kind of some pressure from him on the top and bottom. I got a little run by here. Gonna get that T1 mass extractor, but he has units on both sides. So if we look at it from his point of view, he's pushing in on both corners of the map right now. And commander's in the center, just gonna exchange some shots with each other. But yeah, no, this is looking pretty good from his point of view at the moment. He's pushing in on all sides. He got all my mass extractors. This is what my map control looks like at the moment. I don't have too much. I guess I do have a couple bombers up in here, which are probably going to take out these mass extractors. Looks like I'm trying to fight back a little bit, but these guys are going to push in and threaten my T2 mass extractors down here. This one's almost done, so that could be bad if these guys don't get addressed in the meantime. Let's go back to open view. He has a bomber as well out, which is cool. So we're both just doing a little bit of bomber action here. But yeah, he's in my base now, and it looks like I'm sending in some engineers to fight that. They might just be on a reclaim order, or I'm not sure what they're doing. But those guys are going to get mopped up by all these tanks, assuming the tanks will actually fire at their targets, which they're not at the moment. But that force should get mopped up shortly. And let's take a look at the ecos again. So I'm a little bit ahead on eco, 33 mass per tick versus 28 mass per tick. And how are we doing? If I was him, I would probably send some engineers up this way just to claim those. He's not really in any pressure right now, so that's just a bunch of free mass. I'm doing it right now with this engineer right here, and he's probably actually going to die really shortly, but I might be coming in to defend him up here. Let's see what's going on. He's has some interceptors coming in down here, but yeah, I built that mass extract with the engineer. Now I'm turning tail and run. So it really is that easy to just, if you have a factory on infinite repeat on engineers, maybe not for small maps like this. You're going to want all your factories producing tanks to some extent, but definitely just grab an engineer like this guy up here. This guy can just come and just build all these mass extractors pretty easily. Again, there's no pressure right now. I was doing it when there was pressure, and he ended up dying, but it's not the end of the world because I still have just a bunch more engineers down here, which really should be reclaiming these mass wrecks right now, because that's a lot of mass that can just go into my economy. But I'm starting the gun upgrade down here as another little, I don't know if this is a harass force or kind of a expeditionary force, I guess, comes down south and is changing their mind once they see, a little force of my own. But let's go back to just the player view so we can see what's happening. So he doesn't see this force that's coming right now. Totally blind to him. They're just kind of appearing out of the fog. I have vision. So I have vision just about everywhere. I can see this force. I know he's coming to defend me. and I can see he's pulling back right now, and I have the center of the map. And I'm about halfway through my gun upgrade. So my strategy at the moment is I don't think he has any upgrades on his commander. Yeah, no, he doesn't have any upgrades on his commander. So my strategy right now is to pretty much hang tight with the forces I do have, and then once I finish my gun upgrade on my commander, I'm going to try to push in because I'll have the advantage with that gun upgrade. So these guys are going up to this top corner just to destroy the mass extractors, but I don't think he actually had these built, so those units just kind of just went up there to die in that corner by themselves. So rest in peace, that force. But I'm also simultaneously pushing these down here, and looks like I can get all those mass extractors, and pretty much still in the lead by 14, 15 mass per tick. And that might not seem that much, but per tick, that adds up pretty quickly on these small maps. So take everything you can get. I've been pretty quick on this game to rebuild with my engineers. Should have been quicker to get these, which hopefully this engineer is going to do. Yeah, exactly. So starting to push in the middle as well. And this is really interesting. He came down here with his commander to ward off this little force down here, but I think that was a tactical mistake. I think these units could have taken on this army, and he really needs his commander up here to deter this force, because that is a big force on a small map like this. He's bringing these units down from the top, but here I go. Commander with upgraded range and damage, I think it is. So look at those units just get mopped up. How far can my commander... I think this big red line is how far he can shoot. So he has quite a range advantage. He really needs to get his commander in the fray. His commander's coming up, but might be a little bit slow because now a lot of his units are dead and a lot of my units are still alive. His units are also trickling in, kind of getting stuck on the pathfinding. So all my units are getting a little bit better of an engage because they can all shoot at the same time. Whereas these guys are just coming in single file and just getting blapped as soon as they are in range. But starting to wear out a little bit. I have another force up top coming here. I have more forces here, so it's starting to look a little bit dicey for Eggman. Still in it with his commander, but now my units are pulling in and could be GG. I actually wanted to mention it, but I almost retreated with my forces here because I saw he had a Tech 2, and I saw a Tech 2 tank roll off, and I almost retreated with my forces. But then I thought, what the heck? Like, I'm in his base right now. I basically just killed his entire army. He has, what, one Tech 2 tank? I think this is his second Tech 2 tank. But I made the decision to stay and shoot his eco. And this decision will actually be pretty clutch. If I decided to pull back and just leave all of his core mass extractors intact, I probably could have gotten that one. But if I decided to leave all his core mass extractors intact, he probably could have built up an army a little bit quicker. He's probably, I guess he's pretty healthy. But yeah, I made the decision to go in and then take out the core mass extractors here. And then because of that, basically, he throws out the GG. He knows this one's done. And yeah, so really short cast for you guys, but honestly, I wanted to do this one just because, again, if you're watching all these casts like I was before, I watched casts of Supreme Commander for like a year before I actually played Supreme Commander, and then I was expecting to do all these like hour-long games, all this cool stuff happening, and it's just different. It's just very, very different to play a 12-minute game that barely gets to the Tech 2 stage. I pretty much won this at the Tech 1 stage just from using spam alone. I might be almost, yeah, I'm almost teched up to Tech 2, but realistically, this was one in the T1 spam phase, and he wasted, not wasted, but he gambled on Tech 2 that it would win for him, and unfortunately, that meant that he put a lot of mass into upgrading this, which meant he didn't have a lot of tanks, and then with my tanks, I just overwhelmed him. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Actually, no, one thing I would want to start doing on these is looking at the score really quick. So just one last look at the map to make sure I didn't forget anything. Yeah, no, well played, Eggman. This was a fun game. So let's go ahead and look at the score. Looks like I was pretty much ahead for most of it. We were pretty even on mass. We were going back and forth at the beginning, but then I think we were both doing raiding parties. He was pretty successful in his raiding parties. He got my mass extractors, but I think I was just a little bit better at rebuilding those. And that's just because I had a factory pretty much infinitely reducing engineers. I might have been like engineer tank on repeat since it was just such a small map. But usually in most normal games, I'll just have one factory just on engineers the entire game. And if you do that, it makes it really easy to go rebuild. You just take any random engineer that's sitting around and you just tell them to go do stuff. So I think that's why I pulled ahead in mass and ultimately pulled ahead in spam. Energy, I mean, pretty similar. Looks like he surpassed me at the end on energy actually. Total build, again, you know, this scoreboard is pretty straightforward, but really just came down to me rebuilding those mexes, I think a little bit more efficiently. But if you can look at this, it's pretty much neck and neck on amount killed. So I think it was a pretty even game. But yeah, guys, that'll just about do it on this one. Let me know if you like the shorter cast format. And again, if you guys have cool replays, definitely send them over to me. I will check them out 100%. And thanks, guys. I will catch you in the next one.